Hello and welcome. In late December, I had the opportunity to do something I had only dreamed about, travel to Armenia, the country of my heritage. Of course, it is the homeland of millions of Armenians around the world and 40,000 here in the Central Valley. So in a journey organized by the National Competitiveness Foundation of Armenia, I was joined by photographer George Garnica and producer Paul Chedurgian on the trip of a lifetime. In 1 week, we covered a lot of territory in the country, from historical places, some centuries old, to amazing tourist attractions. We sampled wonderful food and drinks and were inspired by many of the incredible, hardworking people we had the opportunity to meet. We were also left with wonderful memories, which we share with you tonight.
Now, a KSEE 24 special primetime presentation, bringing you the people and places of an ancient and mysterious land. Join us on a personal journey through Stephanie's Armenia with your host, Stephanie Baruzian.
I guess you could say Yerevan was our home base. That's where our journey started and ended. I was surprised to see such a big and cosmopolitan city. About half of Armenia's total population of 3 million lives in Yerevan. And I was also surprised to find some connections there to our own local community. The Central Valley's Armenian population is 40,000 strong. We have the restaurants, the churches, the art pieces like David of Sassoon in Courthouse Park. And the connection to the homeland is stronger than you might think. In Yerevan, Armenia's capital, the folk hero David is also immortalized. And nearby, another monument of Fresno author William Saroyan. This is Republic Square, the center of Yerevan, a city of 1.5 million people. Over there is the National Gallery. We have government buildings, the post office, and the office of the Foreign Ministry. It's an ancient city dating back to 782 BC. Locals boast it's 29 years older than Rome. Some old traditions remain. But Yerevan has its modern side, with modern problems like heavy traffic and how to build a democracy after 70 years of Soviet rule.
Welcome to Civilitas.
Salpi Gazarian is the director of Civilitas Foundation, a nonprofit organization created by Armenia's foreign minister to promote democracy, develop the economy, and solve problems.
The problems are twofold. One is that economically there aren't enough jobs and the kinds of jobs that people, especially young professionals, educated professionals, would want. The other difficulty is that the political system is still not stable.
After 20 years of independence, the people, she says, haven't learned to question those in charge.
People don't feel they have a voice. They're accustomed to a Soviet system where the authorities were necessarily the enemy. Unfortunately, over these 20 years, our authorities have not always disproved that.
But there are other avenues of expression. Through the cultural language of music and art.
In the summer times, many young people come here. I think it's everywhere like these bags.
Artisan Lily Malkonian makes handbags and hats out of used rugs. She sells them at the Vernissage, a weekly outdoor flea market. You've got all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, this is my idea, I can say, after some people's copy, but it is, I think, normal in Armenia.
Malkonian says she's lived in America but had to work too hard. In Armenia, it's possible to be happy making less.
For us, it's not normal. We are not so hardly work. And I look every hardly, I come back and our country is the best. I can work little.
It's a faraway country with local connections, an ancient place that's still trying to grow up. From a large Armenian city to the rural areas now, there's quite a contrast in the environment and the lifestyle, and many challenges. Here's a look at life in some villages of Armenia. Her name is Maru.
It's still warm.
She comes most every day to sell bread outside the Gerhard Monastery in central Armenia.
I make this bread at home in a special oven called tonir with milk, with eggs, and with sour cream, with homemade flour.
She bakes 10 loaves a day, 20 during the busy tourist season. It's the way she supports her family of 10.
We don't have any job, only this. Just we sell and we make money.
Village life has its challenges: low wages, unpaved roads, some lack infrastructure. For an outsider, it's charming. This village has its own outdoor altar. Residents raise chickens and sheep. This woman told us she grows potatoes, onions, and apples. But a lot of young people leave, she says, to find work in other places. This is a cross between a horse and a donkey in the village of Gandevaz. And the people here are so nice. And one of the gentlemen let us take a ride. There's no question village folk are friendly. We met school children in the town of Yeregnadzor. 11-year-old Gayane tells us she likes to play volleyball and read English.
Once upon a time, there lived a little girl. Her name was Hilda.
At a nearby home, Armenia Segment shows us her mother's bed and breakfast. The family's home transformed to make ends meet. Wow, it's big for a whole family. Yeah. There are more than 850 rural towns and villages, about half of the country's population of 3 million. We stopped by Anna Arshakian's home in the village of Tatev. Anna grew up here. She left for college, but now at 22, with her father's passing, she's back. You decided to come back for your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to leave them alone.
Yeah. Anna admits the village lacks jobs, but she found one as a community works coordinator.
I think it doesn't matter wherever you work, wherever you live, it's important how you do it. So living here, for me, it's pleasure.
Rural communities with a warm spirit in a country that's sometimes challenged to care for them. A lack of jobs is a serious problem throughout Armenia. Unemployment stands at over 30%, and more than 40% of the people there live below the poverty line. Christianity has played a very large role in shaping Armenia's national identity, and it was a big part of our week-long tour. We now go inside Armenia's main cathedral for a beautiful and moving service. It's a tremendous source of pride. We heard it time and time again.
Armenia was the first country in the world to officially recognize Christianity as its state religion. That happened in 301.
Christianity and its roots are buried deep. The Bible says Noah's Ark came to rest here on Mount Ararat, the tallest mountain in the region, a symbol of Armenia and the Armenian people. Christianity has helped shape Armenia's national identity for 1,700 years. The Armenian Apostolic Church is among the original ancient churches. It was founded by the apostles Thaddeus and Bartholomew. The church's Holy See and main cathedral is Echmiadzin. It's a Sunday in Echmiadzin. Christians have come from around the world to worship in the first established church. This is also like the Armenian Vatican. The Catholicos lives here, the supreme patriarch of the Armenian Apostolic Church. Parishioners stand for the service, light candles, and pray, an experience carried on for centuries.
I think of people, this is 1,700 years of history. I think of people who lived in 15th century, for example.
Who walked in that
same door.
The religious significance cannot be questioned. Its museum houses amazing artifacts. Petrified wood, they say, came from Noah's Ark, and a spear that pierced the side of Jesus Christ after his crucifixion. Etchmiadzin is just one of the many beautiful and spiritual points of interest. Our tour continues with a stop at some incredible monasteries, each playing an important role in Armenia's history. It's one of the most beautiful sounds I've ever heard. 5 voices uniting as one in a venue carved from stone. This is the Garni Vocal Quintet performing in Gerhard Monastery, a spectacular ancient structure founded in the 4th century. It's partially carved from a mountainside with wondrous acoustics. A sacred stream with holy waters trickles inside. Gerhard is among the many sacred sites scattered throughout Armenia. Some have survived centuries and proudly grace the countryside. Others are remnants of ancient times. This is Zavardnots, one of the oldest churches to have been built in Armenia. Constructed during the 7th century, it's believed to have been destroyed in an earthquake. The church sat in ruins for hundreds and hundreds of years, but was eventually rebuilt to a point to give all of us an idea of what the original church may have looked like. Noravank, which means new monastery, was built in the 13th century. The church itself is 2 stories. A narrow climb leads to the temple over the ground-level burial vault. At Horvirap, there's a harrowing descent into a sacred pit. It was here that evangelist St. Gregory the Illuminator was imprisoned for 13 years. Armenia's pagan king banished St. Gregory the Illuminator to this underground snake pit for his efforts to spread Christianity. When the king became sick, he freed St. Gregory and became well again. The king was so thankful he converted the country's religion to Christianity. 301 AD, Armenia became the first Christian nation. The historic and biblical significance of these sites draws tourists worldwide. A visit that for many will be one they'll never forget.